Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Today, the man accused of shooting two people outside of the San Diego Central Library and killing one of them is set to appear in court for the very first time. Thanks for being with us here. I'm Evan Irani, in for Eric Connert.
And I'm Dana Marie McNichol, in for Netta Iranpour. Now, the 20-year-old suspect was arrested last week. CBS 8's Chris Groh is live outside the Hall of Justice with more on what's expected to happen today. Chris, we know you're learning more about those victims.
Yeah, we are, and that would be 20-year-old Trey Walker, and sadly killed here in this shooting at the Central Library. Leaves behind a 10-month-old daughter, and the man responsible for pulling the trigger, according to the San Diego Police Department, would be Kenneth Chaney. Now, Kenneth Chaney, of course, has been arrested and charged with the shooting there of 20-year-old Trey Walker, as well as wounding another man whose name has not been released. He was arrested, that is Chaney, Thursday, May 25th, near the 15 in University Avenue. If you remember, though, the shooting took place just 2 days prior at that Central Library. Police say that it happened after two men confronted Chaney over a stolen backpack. One of those men was Trey Walker. Family and friends described him as funny, outgoing, and the life of a party. Again, he was a new father and was looking forward to that part of his life. Now, we also spoke with Chaney's grandmother, and who chose not to be identified. She says that as for Chaney, they did take out a restraining order against him last year. He was not allowed to have guns, yet he was still able to work as a security guard under a license that was issued back in January of 2021. Now, as for this arraignment, that'll be happening at 1:30 p.m. later on this afternoon. And of course, we will continue to follow these proceedings as we head towards a trial. Evan and Dana Marie.
All right, thank you so much. Mayor Todd Gloria is highlighting the impacts of homeless encampments on schools and children. He's also advocating for City Council to pass the proposed unsafe camping ordinance. It would prohibit all tent encampments if shelter beds are available. It would also prohibit encampments at all times around parks, schools, and transit stations, regardless of shelter capacity. Critics say it will criminalize being homeless and lead to more arrests. The City Council will vote on June 13th. Travelers are still heading home this morning after the holiday weekend. For drivers, AAA recommends either leaving before 2 p.m. or after 6 p.m. today. The window between 4 and 6 p.m. is expected to be the busiest. Air travel was a lot smoother than last year. The Department of Transportation says cancellations were below 1% over the weekend.
All right, some good advice as you head out on the roads. And also this morning, the filing period for the County Supervisor District 4 seat, it's now open. This comes after Nathan Fletcher resigned. Starting today until next Tuesday, candidates running for the vacant seat can register to be on the ballot for that special election that'll take place in August. 3 candidates have already declared their campaigns: Janessa Goldbeck, Monica Montgomery Stepp, and Amy Reichert. The special election will be held on August 15th with a potential runoff scheduled for November 7th. And turning now to the race for president, Democratic candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made a campaign stop here in San Diego. He spoke at Shelter Island yesterday about the COVID lockdowns and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Kennedy has garnered headlines over the last several years as an anti-vaccine activist and a critic of the pandemic-era lockdown. He also called for the return of the peace dividend, calling for the need to focus on the country's middle class, which he says is drowning in debt.
I feel like I'm losing my country. I feel like my party has gone off the rails. It's become the party of war. When the Democratic Party was always skeptical about war, it's become the party of censorship, which is it's antithetical to the entire definition and tradition of liberalism.
RFK Jr. also spent decades as an environmental champion, something that he said he would carry on into the White House. And this morning, we are just under a week away from the Treasury Department's new debt default deadline. You're looking at that countdown, 6 days and 17 hours. It'll take place on June 5th. Today, a key congressional committee is set to approve the compromise deal that the Biden administration and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy structured over the weekend to raise the debt ceiling. Now, the race is on for lawmakers to pass it and avoid an economic disaster. Reed Binion reports.
It takes the threat of catastrophic default off the table.
President Biden describing the debt ceiling deal he reached with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy over the weekend in positive terms, but also acknowledging the concessions he made to get the deal.
The agreement also represents a compromise, which means no one got everything they want.
The deal would suspend the debt limit through January 1st, 2025, and put a limit on spending for 2 years, excluding defense and veteran spending. In 2025, spending would grow by just 1%. The deal would redirect $10 billion of new IRS funding and billions in unspent COVID relief, and temporarily expand work requirements for some adults receiving food stamps. Biden's concessions, including those on food stamp work requirements, have been met with dismay by some progressive Democrats. Various House Republicans have also expressed concerns.
I'm not willing to vote this country into more debt.
In a series of tweets on Monday, GOP Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina blasted the deal, saying it doesn't have enough money for national security. He also slammed Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell for supporting it. The next step happens Tuesday, when the House Rules Committee meets to consider the Biden-McCarthy deal. If it clears committee, it could go to a full House vote Thursday. Throughout that process, Biden and McCarthy have their work cut out for them, bringing dissenters in their parties to the middle. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
We're taking a look at the forecast here on our Tuesday morning. It's 6:06 on the clock, and yesterday was a day that we dealt with those clouds for quite a good portion of the day, at least along the coast. Even inland, we didn't really see all that much of clearing, and today is expected to be a very similar day. So let's take a look at how that forecast is shaping up along the coast. We're going to mostly be in the low 60s, barely a degree warmer inland, which just kind of goes to show how much those clouds will be affecting our afternoon high temperatures. Across the mountains and deserts, low 60s for the mountains, upper 80s for the deserts. If you are east of the mountains, basically just your deserts, you're going to have plenty of sunshine in the forecast. And even across the mountains, partly cloudy skies. But anywhere west of the mountains, well, that's where that marine layer is quite active, not only in the form of low clouds and a little bit of fog, but also with some drizzle, some light rain, very similar to what we saw yesterday. 2 miles of visibility in Ramona. Looks like along the coastline we are at a perfect 10, so not seeing a ton of trouble in terms of low clouds, but those mid and high clouds, well, they're still capable of producing some of that moisture. So here's where those clouds are as we speak. You can see them stretching just off to the east of Ramona and toward the Valley Center area, but you essentially are able to see that full cutoff right around the mountaintops. Along the coastline, very much socked in to start off the day, and even a few spots of drizzle that we've been picking up on. So let's talk about where those temperatures are going to be for this afternoon. We sadly are cooler than where we were yesterday. I won't even say sadly, and the reason why is because some viewers I know have been saying how much they love this cooler, cloudier bout of weather. So if you're a big fan of it, then hey, more power to you. Today is your day. 66 in Santee and El Cajon as opposed to their average of mid-70s. Along the coastline, we might not even break out of the 50s in PB. Our peak is about 60 degrees flat, 62 for La Jolla. Looking up toward North County, you've got a high of 64 in Oceanside, 62 in Encinitas and Solana Beach, 64 in Escondido. Palomar Mountain is going to cap out at 59 degrees. And across the mountains and deserts, a pretty similar scene out there too. Campo, instead of the 70s, will only make it to 66. Julian, 59. And Borrego Springs, instead of the 90s, dropping down to 88 degrees for this afternoon as this trough arrives. Let's take a look at traffic. We do want to let you know what port wait times look like from the CBP website. Right now, the general line at the San Ysidro Port of Entry, boy, look at this, 210 minutes. Could take you well over 3, maybe 3.5 hours to get across that San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, just over an hour, about an hour 15. You can keep up to date on what your highways look like, whether there are any crashes or collisions that could stop your morning commute. It's all on our website, cbs8.com/traffic.